as I said, we've got Neil Campbell here from the Risk Dashboard, and today he's got several areas that he's going to talk to you about. We're going to start off with finance. So, good morning, Neil.
Good morning, Ian. Nice to see you.
And you too. That's an interesting rugby shirt you've got on there.
Hong Kong Sevens. It's
Hong Kong Sevens, yeah. Excellent.
It is the Rugby World Cup, after all.
It is, isn't it? So, you're doing your bit.
Yes. So, nice to see you again. So, I think what we going to look at today, I've stripped this down for this session. I think we've been doing it a little bit, overrunning it. So I'm going to look at a couple of questions in 2 modules in the dashboard. We've already covered 6 modules of the 20. So we're going to look at what happens with regards to risks and threats and vulnerabilities to a small business within finance and sales and marketing. I did promise to do GDPR. I think we'll do that the next session. Everybody's favourite. So just to recap for the listeners, what our platform does is help small, medium-sized enterprises just be aware of the threats and vulnerabilities that are around that they could work against by completing the compliance survey, which is part of the dashboard. So it starts off with this initial question. Then you have a resulting action depending on how you answer the question, and then of course our information article and utilities allow you to work on links and templates which help you through our resourcing section work through your compliance. So the first question, which I think is important to small businesses within the finance section, is whether you suffer from late payments from your customers or your suppliers. Of course, if the answer to this question is yes, then what you need to do is you need to consider seeking advice from someone like the Commissioner for Small Business. And the Commissioner of Small Business is one of a number of agencies who can help with regards to fair payments. It was launched in December 17 to ensure that fair payment practices for Britain's small businesses, to support them in resolving their payment disputes with larger companies in particular, and to bring about a positive cultural change. So the Risk Dashboard has been working with the Commissioner's Office, supplying them data on various types of companies, their size, employees and turnover, the sector and location, and then the Commissioner then works with these businesses to help manage these business risks. Naturally, in our dashboard, we have links to the Commissioner's website. But more importantly, just to consider some facts here for a second. Hitachi Capital UK recently researched that late payments are costing the SME community £51.5 billion a year. 92% of businesses, however, admit to paying their suppliers late. So it's a double-edged sword here. 43% of SMEs surveyed by the Commissioner face late payments. And every year in the UK, around 400,000 new start-up businesses begin trading. But only 2/3 of those businesses are still trading after 3 years, and only half after 5. And it's not the lack of customers that they worry about, or poor quality of services and products. Their demise is simple. It's the lack of cash. So late payments has ramifications not only for SMEs, but for the entire supply chain. And fair and competitive and supportive businesses environments is critical for this country's wider economic success. But how can you manage this? So another question in our dashboard would be, do you prepare an integrated cash flow forecast? Do you monitor performance against it? And if the answer is negative, you need to be preparing monthly cash flow forecasts. And these are important as estimations of the amount of money you expect to flow in and out of your business. And they're very important if cash in your business is occasionally a problem, particularly if your business is reliant on an overdraft, or whether you want to run weekly or even daily cash flow forecasts if money is exceptionally tight. And cash flow forecasts can be made really easy on Excel or on spreadsheet software, and also serve as a way to organise your resources and to plan your business activities. So there is an upside to all of this. Cash management is crucial to balancing the act between your income and your expenditure. And when you pay and get paid, it's just as important that you know how much you are being paid. So for SMEs, it's also important to consider payment terms. Most businesses, they sell directly to end consumers and they take immediate payment. But businesses that sell B2B, so business to business, often take credit in form of payment terms, 7, 14, 30, 60 or even 90 days. Extended terms, of course, are nice to attract new customers in, but has an adverse effect on your cash flow. So how do you operate? If it then becomes perpetual, you have to deal you have even more to deal with and what to consider. You should also choose who you do business with very carefully. This may sound almost counterintuitive, but consider doing credit checks on your new prospects. And once you're happy to confirm your terms, get your terms confirmed in writing. Cover everything from delivery through to what happens if you're not being paid. This is essential for a small business. But more importantly, get to know the people behind your customers and suppliers when it comes to payments. Build relationships with the individuals. Consider, of course, accounting software that can help you manage this particular aspect of your organisation. And if you haven't, consider working with an accountant or bookkeeper. So I could go on, I really could go on about the finance module and the types of risks that we're seeing through our audits. These, I think, are just two which are really important to consider. So we're looking at, how do you manage your late payments and getting that correct. But more importantly, if you do suffer, there's a route to try and help reduce that risk through the Commissioner's office.
Just to bust in there a little bit about late payments and so on. Some of the statistics you gave there, did it break down just into who was paid late, or was the domino effect factored into that company A pays company B late, so company B can't pay its bill until company A has paid, and because we're talking SMEs here and not multinationals who maybe have huge credit lines with the bank. And
well, it's an interesting question. I'm led to believe by the Commissioner's office that they're about to take under their control or guidance the late payment code, or the prompt payment code, I should say. Now, if they have the teeth from the government to go over and start penalising these big companies who, if you want to work with them in supply chain, I'm not going to mention any names, they're household names, but when you've got payment terms of 90 to 100 days, that's effectively a free loan for an SME is providing to these huge companies.
Yeah.
And cash flow is key, and you've got to get your money in quicker. So I'm hopefully looking forward to the time when the Small Business Commissioner in particular can start going after and finding big companies because of the effect that it has in the supply chain, which of course filters down to the SME.
I have a client who is a big household name. I'm not going to mention who. They go a step further, whereas they say it'll be 60 to 90 days net. Then at 60 days they come on to you and say, if you give us a 3.5% discount, we'll pay you now. If not, you've got to wait the full 90 days.
This is, I think, really poor payment practice. Again, the Commissioner's office in particular, the FSB are very warm on this topic in particular as well. The IOD, they're all looking to see. But nobody wants to see all of these entrepreneurs going out of business after 2 or 3 years, especially if they've taken on investment from government grants through local enterprise partnerships. This is all about managing the business, getting cash in, and making sure there's enough cash in the bank at the end of the month so that you can open the doors on the first day. And these huge companies applying practices just like that, I think, are being incredibly unfair.
Oh, I agree. Let's just hope that the Commission has some teeth to bear, can actually do something.
Time will tell, and I think Paul Uppel is doing a tremendous job, and the opportunity to move this forward, let's wait and see. But I've got a bit of faith.
Excellent. Okay, well, I think Neil's sounding a bit rebellious this morning, isn't he?
Always.
We've been just having a bit of a rebellious conversation ourselves, haven't we, Neil? But we'll
leave Thomas Cook for another day.
We'll leave. Yes, that's a whole series of shows on its own. Back to you.
So, Ian, 2 more questions just to consider in the risk dashboard. So we're looking at sales and marketing now, and again, this is an essential part of a business. Understanding, what your sales processes are, your marketing requirements. It's all about customer collateral. So one of the questions out of I think there's 22 in this module. Do you talk to your customers about the services you offer and how happy they are? Now, you'd be astonished at the amount of reports that we get coming back from our audits where people or customers, businesses don't actually talk to their customers. Well, not in an effective way. So the answer or the action that you would take coming out of as a result of that question would be develop a customer communication strategy. And the information article we would provide, it's critically important to talk to your customers about the services you provide them. This will boost your customer retention and, more importantly, provide you with more services to your customers. A simple gap analysis will show you, who's buying what, at what cost, and where you're able to upsell. And there's many ways in which to engage your customers depending on the nature of your business. And the type of engagement would also vary depending on the type of customer. For example, the difference between business owners who use your services and the general public, for example. But there are many questions that you could ask your customers. But the 5 main questions which are relevant to all businesses from my point of view: 1, are they happy with your products and services? 2, do they think that it's value for money? 3, do they need more of your products and services? 4, would they recommend your products and services to another business? And finally, 5, how could you improve or add to your products and services? Start asking these questions of your customers, and you'll be surprised, probable positive feedback that you will get that you're then able to leverage across, such as your website. Now we'll come on to this final question now, and it is about website management. So, question in the dashboard in sales and marketing module: does your business have a website? Well, most businesses do, of course they do. And if the answer is yes, the logic in the dashboard then presents 3 more further questions. So, do you regularly manage and update your website content? Do you run pay-per-click advertising for the site? And do you frequently use SEO to manage your website? These are 3 crucial areas to manage when it comes to website and what it does for you. So the action there, of course, is create a website for your business. But it can be difficult to know what type of site would be best for your business. But you can start by making a comprehensive list of goals that you would like to see your website achieve. So, of course, an e-commerce website will require big development and marketing budgets. They produce direct revenue, measurable profit, as well as sales leads. A lead generation site can generally be developed and marketed for less, but still requires a lot of investment, with the goal of producing qualified, trackable sales leads for your business. The credential site is the least expensive option and serves to make a good impression on existing customers. But there's other fundamentals to consider when building your website. And I'm going to highlight just 1 or 2 here. So, selecting the right domain and host. And this is important for your brand and for your SEO. But I could come back to this on another occasion and, again, spend an hour or so on what a website should do. Does the business that you're working with offer a service level agreement when it comes to hosting your site? So what would happen if your website went down? What would the implications be to your business? Would the hosting be able to scale your site for traffic? So if you're building a website and it's going to get more hits, is it scalable? Security is essential. Backups. Asking about latest breaches. But more importantly, look at social media for reviews from the companies you're looking to work with. And of course, the big one is content management system. So the type of platform you're going to work with. And it's impossible to develop a great website with a functional program that takes care of your back end. So content management systems are the likes of Drupal and Magento and WordPress. People are familiar with these. So do you want to use a third party to host and to help build? What are their security measures? Take again a look at their social media. What is their SEO experience? Do they use plugins, or do they understand what SEO is? We work with a small business, in fact my previous employers in Kettering, called Silverdisc, where I think their managing director Alan Perkins there is a UK leader, if not a global leader in SEO. And he looks at SEO as 3 things. So it's the architecture of your website, so the engineering that sits behind it, content and links. And of course, your website needs to be fast, it needs to be responsive, or Google's not going to like it. And these are ranking factors. Will it have integrated social media so your website works across different platforms? Also take a look at the partners you may be working with. Are they Google Premier or Bing accredited? And this will help provide credibility. Always ask the developer one key thing. If you're building my website, how much money is it going to take? And how much money will it make for me? If you're going to get a website, it's going to cost £500. You are not going to get £50,000 a year from this. It just doesn't work that way. So in summary, Ian, we've done 4 things today. We've looked at late payments and how essential that is for the survival, certainly, of entrepreneurs and new businesses, but for businesses in general. Integrating a cash flow forecast into your business helps manage the late payment process. Communicating with your customers are essential again. And website is a large part of how you attract those things. Our next session will look at GDPR and fraud. But more importantly, if people want to find out more about the risk dashboard and how to get in contact with us, talk to your local Chamber of Commerce or your accountant to make contact with me. Or you can find more on my website at www.riskdashboard.co.uk.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Ian.
That was a marathon session there. Well done.
Well, I'm trying to cut these down.
all without a cup of tea.
but there's more. There's so much more we could talk about risks and risk management. But it's all about adopting compliance. We just want businesses in the UK to be better at what they do.
Yep. Brilliant. Great idea. Neil, always a pleasure, never a chore. Thank you for coming over again today. Sorry it was a bit hurried when we first arrived.
No problem.
But hopefully we'll have things sorted for next time. So back again 2 weeks today.
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, yep. Look forward to it.
Look forward to it. Take care now.